Something is shifting in the draft room right now, and I'm talking about a position battle that's completely flipping the mock drafts. The Cowboys have two first-round picks, and while you might think you know what they need, there's one specific matchup between two players that's got the entire league buzzing differently than they were a month ago. The Combine's about to expose everything, and honestly, Dallas might be forced to make a decision nobody saw coming. What's up, Cowboys? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Cowboys. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the America's team. So, we're officially 10 weeks away from the NFL draft in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Time is absolutely flying. And you know what's making it feel even faster? The fact that Dallas has two first-round picks this year. Usually, you can narrow it down to like 3 or 4 guys you're really focused on for that one pick. But now, man, it could be any one of 15 people we need to do deep dives on. The Combine is coming up in a couple weeks, and that's when everything starts to crystallize. That's when you get the medicals, the character interviews, the workout numbers. There was a situation last year with Adonai Mitchell where some teams took him completely off their board because of how his Combine interviews went. That was the last piece of information they needed, and boom, done. The Combine matters way more than people think. And right now, there's this massive conversation happening around cornerbacks, specifically Jermod McCoy and Mansoor Delane. 4 weeks ago, if you asked anybody, they tell you McCoy was going to be the first corner off the board. But now, the more you get into these all-star games, the more national media is flipping it. Delane above McCoy over and over. And it's not random. It's reflecting what the league is saying behind closed doors. The chatter is that Delane goes first. Now here's my thing. McCoy's 2024 tape is better than Delane's. I genuinely believe that. But there's one massive question mark, and it's his knee. He hasn't played football in a year. So when we get to the Combine, if his medicals check out, if he's running around well, if he's flipping his hips the way we know he can, does that change things? Honestly, I don't think so. Corner isn't one of those positions where you just throw a guy out there immediately. And when you're talking about a guy who hasn't played in a year with knee concerns, that's a massive gamble for a team picking in the top half of the first round. Delane's going to be the first corner off the board. I really believe that. But you know what? I'm calling my shot right now. McCoy goes to the Rams at 13. It makes perfect sense. The Rams need a corner, but they don't need him to play immediately. They can give him time to get to 100%. And the biggest thing with McCoy has always been his change of direction, the way he flips his hips, puts his knee on the ground, turns back, and gets to the ball. If he needs some time to get back to that level, the Rams can give him that on-ramp. Dallas? We can't afford an injured corner right now. Speaking of Dallas and these two picks, the Combine really changes everything. When you get the whole league in the same city, you start hearing chatter about how teams actually feel about guys. The information you gather isn't just about the drills, it's about the medicals, but it's also about what teams are thinking and how the league is leaning on certain players. Names start popping up in first-round conversations that weren't even on your radar before. Tyler Smith and Mozzie Smith started getting first-round buzz at the Combine. People talk, information spreads, and there's going to be a lot more consensus on these boards coming out of Indianapolis than going in.
Now, let me shift gears, because there's another position I want to talk about, and that's quarterback, specifically Garrett Nussmeier. This kid is in desperate need of the right context for some of his struggles at LSU. When I watch him throw the football, when I watch him work through his reads, the touch and placement he showed on tape, I see a guy who has a real chance to be that quarterback who goes in the 3rd or 4th round but ends up having a legitimately nice career. He's undersized at 6'1", I'll give you that, but when I watch him read a defense and throw the football, there are some really special NFL throws on his tape. The athleticism, the ability to move with his legs, it's all there. He's the son of Doug Nussmeier, somebody who understands the quarterback position, and honestly, watching him throw reminds me a ton of Romo. I went back and watched Garrett Nussmeier against some tougher competition, and there's so much context about how rough things were at LSU. I don't think Brian Kelly was a great fit for him. My biggest concern is some of the decisions he made this past year. There were some very poor, what are you thinking kind of throws. I'm fine if my quarterback gets cocky and thinks he can make any throw, but if there are blatantly obvious situations where you just cannot throw that football, and there are some on Nussmeier's tape, that concerns me. But in terms of pure throwing ability and moxie, he fits. Going back to his high school days, the saying was, if you want to win, let Nussmeier spin. There's a lot of work to do, and it's going to be important for him to find the right staff that can develop him. Right now, I've got Nussmeier as my QB3 behind Fernando Mendoza and Ty Simpson. He had 17 interceptions over 2 years, which is a high rate, but when you look at the tape, it's not for a lack of reading coverages, it's pure confidence and overconfidence. If we tallied up the number of throws where you watch and go, holy cow, Nussmeier's probably right there with Mendoza and Simpson. Great command of the offense, great understanding of the playbook, knows how to read coverages, quick release. I love the release. Solid arm talent, good velocity. He's a tough runner, durable despite the lack of size. Over 2 years as a starter, he had 7,700 passing yards and 52 touchdowns. 52 touchdowns with 17 interceptions. That's a tough kid, and I think that's the type of guy you want to lead your franchise. I think he's one of the guys people are overlooking. I have him as a high third-round pick right now, but if I hear some additional context during the combine interviews that makes me feel even better, I might move him up. I really like him. Now, I want to touch on Caleb Banks real quick. He's 6'6", 330 pounds, and yeah, he's supernaturally gifted, but here's my problem. He doesn't really know how to play defensive line. He's big as hell, he can rush, but his pad level is weird, his hands are weird, and he can't read runs consistently. Off size and strength alone, sure, he's really good, but he's going to need some serious molding. I've got Banks as a late second rounder. Some people might overdraft him based on the measurables, but for me, there's too much work that needs to be done with his technique and football IQ. Look, we're less than 10 weeks away from this draft, and things are going to move fast. The Combine is going to answer a lot of questions and shift these boards in ways we're not expecting. For Dallas, sitting there with 2 first-round picks, the decisions are only going to get harder. Every piece of new information matters. Every workout, every interview, every medical report. By the time we get to Pittsburgh, we're going to have a much clearer picture of where this thing is headed.